Welcome back to Rule of Thirds on the Screen Refresh Network. Our goal every episode is to take a little break from watching and analyzing movies to dive headfirst into some nostalgia. So every month we select a different topic and create a list that may or may not be near and dear to each of our hearts. For this episode, I'm your host, Tim, and I'm joined by the rest of the Screen Refresh crew, Nick and Dean.
Hello there.
Good evening.
And our topic today is covering some of our favorite needle drops in media. So games, shows, movies, whatever the case may be. Which I think we probably need to start off by explaining what a needle drop is to some people.
Yes,
I
please.
assumed
I didn't know when we decided what it was. I just wanted clarification because I thought I would know, but yeah,
like I assumed it was just like understood.
Yeah, I went with Requiem
because
for a
I
Dream.
almost thought because it's not a record scratch, but my first thought was like moments in movies where like, oh shit, something's about to happen, and it's like that realization just before.
So I believe the official or understood reference to needle drops in films are the point where a song gets used, whether diegetically or non-diegetically, that is not from the film itself. So like, for example, if all of a sudden we say, oh, when the throne room music happens at the end of A New Hope, that's a needle. It's like, that's not a needle drop. That's the score. That's just the soundtrack to the film. But if we end up having a sequence of like, I don't want to say anything that somebody is going to end up using. But if all of a sudden we end up having Down With the Sickness kick in during the scene of Jet Li's The One, when the mouse blows up and frees him from the execution, that's a needle drop when all of a sudden that just like bursts into the scene. So it's just any of those usages. Anybody familiar with, which everybody should be, like Guardians of the Galaxy, for any of our listeners, a ton of needle drops in that, things like that.
So what was your generic explanation again? It can just be if it's not a score, but it's a song used, right?
Yeah, so it's a song used in the scene that either conveys the tone, some sort of characterization.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I was just making sure I'm square. I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I'm not. I have to look it up.
I'm good.
I'll go second. So since you're good, why don't you
I went
off?
first last time. It's fine. I went with Train Spotting, the scene after they shoot up and then he drops the needle.
So it's a needle drop.
No, it's real. No.
It's the scene when there's the baby on the ceiling.
This was tough because I went to like jog my memory and look for something, and it jogged my memory, but then I also thought of something independent. I'm like, oh, do I want to go with the one I thought of like from my heart, or this one that's actually really good that I now remember? So yeah, I had a choice to make, and I'm going with Mad World by Gary Jules in the film Donnie Darko. During
that was on the honorable mentions.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
My memory was jogged of this one when I was trying to think of some music. But then I remember liking that movie, and then I just watched that scene again, and I'm like, yeah, it's a very powerful moment in the movie.
That scene makes me hate the song though, because it's just that I can't listen to it because it's just so melancholy.
It's like soaked in emotion from specifically that film.
And then just like it's panning to everyone's face and like the realization of like what could have been kind of thing. And like you seeing the guy from what the hell's his name? The
Patrick
Independence
Swayze.
Day. No, the other kid, and just like he's reaching up to his eye, realizing that he could have
that's
like
the same kid. Oh wow,
Yeah.
I just realized that.
But just
Frank,
that whole
he plays
scene,
Frank the money.
Yeah, that's it. It always fucked me up. It's a great pick.
It's a great
that,
like Tim said, characterization. Like it's just everybody like, and it's like them. They feel like they've gone on this journey, but it's just kind of memories, and they don't know really what they just experienced. And they're like, do they remember? They kind of remember, obviously.
Yeah.
Not obviously.
Yeah.
Some people don't understand this film, but not obvious for everybody. But yeah, it's a very strong. And one of my other moments is from the same movie. It's from earlier in the movie, but I decided to go with this one because it just
Is the other one Head Over Heels
Yeah.
by Tears for Fears?
yeah.
Which is a great segue because that's going to be my pick.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Originally, my pick was going to be the in the beginning of 300 when he comes back and he lays the helmet down and the soundtrack just kicks in, because that's when I knew like this movie's going to be special. At least in 2006, it was a big deal. I love that movie. But
Yeah.
going
Wait, what-
over the actual
What part of it when he puts his helmet down?
Oh no, in the very beginning after he kills the wolf, he comes back with the
okay.
wolf pelt, and then like everyone's putting their helmet down out of like respect of like,
I see.
oh shit, he did it. And then Here Comes a King plays. That
Mm.
since that doesn't count, my second choice was this one. I have a third choice if necessary, but the this scene really opened me up to Tears for Fears, because this is the very beginning and it's just kind of playing in the background as the camera's like sweeping through the school, meeting all the different characters that you're going to see throughout the whole rest of the movie. And it just hits so well. Like, of all songs to pick for that exact scene, I feel like there's only like a couple of them that could have been it, and that was the best choice out of all the different ones that could have been played, I guess.
so this is going to be crazy, but my pick was the opening to the film The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen.
He's lying.
No, but
He's lying.
but Nick, you're right. Like, I think this movie really hits it home as far as like song choices throughout this thing, because it really evokes a time period in your mind, but also every single song really feels like, yeah, it's the obvious choice for this scene, even though it's not like, oh, the lyrics just match what's going. It's just, it feels right for every scene that it's in. Because when I hear that song, I immediately think of that scene from Donnie Darko, or when I hear Mad World, there's no way I listen to Mad World and don't think about the ending to Donnie Darko.
Every single time. Every single time.
It's like, I can listen to Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC. Is it a great scene in Avengers when all of a sudden that kicks on and Iron Man lands and like meets Loki? It is. But I can listen to that song and Avengers doesn't even cross my mind. I can't listen to either of those and not think of Donnie Darko.
Yeah.
The Donnie
So is this
Darko
just-
crew over here. Wait.
So it's just, is this just really our most top memorable scenes from Donnie Darko? Are we just gonna turn this into the whole Screen Refresh episode?
I mean, this kind of, so I don't know. There's been a lot of discussion over the years of, is Donnie Darko a good film, or is it like the I'm 13 and this is edgy kind of thing of, oh, is it deep for when you're young and then it's not when you get older? I haven't seen it since we rewatched it probably like, I don't know, like 8 years back or something together. I still like the movie.
Have you seen the director's cut though?
I thought I did.
I'm not sure.
It's
and I don't know
unnecessary. It's
Is it?
unnecessary. Yeah. It really hammers over the head like what he's trying to say, which I think comes across in the movie when you're like, if you pay attention.
Yeah, because aren't there additional deleted scenes of him talking with Noah Wiles about like time travel and
Yeah, and there's like these
like, they
chapter
really-
interstitials
Yeah.
and like yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
I haven't seen a theatrical cut in a while, because usually when a director's cut comes out, that usually replaces the original one for a bit with me. Like, even like when we did Alien, I haven't seen a theatrical cut since like I think I was in my teenage years, and I'd been watching the director's cut ever since it came out in like the mid 2000s. And then same thing with Donnie Darko, because this came out like 2005, 2006?
I think 2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I think I don't know if
2001.
I don't know if the director's cut was in response to like any kind of reception of the movie or confusion about it, but I think it tells you too much, I think.
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I only watch theatrical, because I think movies are best left in the hands of producers and studio execs. The director should never have a say in how the film comes out.
Well, didn't Ridley want to like have the alien rip
And it would have
Rip
been
her
the
head
better ending. I mean, also, I don't know the behind the scenes on like Southland Tales. So Richard Kelly following Donnie Darko, that was like his next one. And I don't know if that was less studio interference and that was more him, but that one felt a little too convoluted and a little too many moving parts. So I don't know if that goes in, okay, well, when we ended up with the director's cut, that's what we ended up with. And then that makes sense on the other one. But I still like both movies. So at some point, maybe we'll pick Donnie, maybe like next September or something. It really feels perfect for a September, October movie.
Yeah, because it has that back to school vibe. And
yeah.
I don't know when I first saw that movie. It wasn't right when it came out. It might have been high school,
I don't think,
or like closer to college.
I don't think it was a wide release too, because I don't remember seeing it in theaters. I don't remember hearing about it at all. And it just word of mouth once DVD came out. Once the DVD came out, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll check this out. And
yeah, I remember
it became a formative and it became like a formative goth movie, you know.
I mean, it was really one of those films during like our existence in school of like that, Fight Club, The Crow, like all of those ones that were these like kind of angsty, melancholy, character defining things for our time, at least. I think all of them still hold up and they're fun. I think a lot of them can be very misunderstood.
Don't watch the new Crow movie.
I'm still going to. I don't expect it to be good.
Yeah. Well, then wait for the DVD. Wait for it to stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't spend full ticket price. Go to a matinee or wait for streaming.
Tell me you didn't pay money for this. I mean, speaking
a 90s remake.
Characterizations, like, yeah, that Tears for Fears thing is a great setup. I don't think it's not an intro to Donnie, I think, right? It's just an intro to like the school and like all the characters that are there. Because it's been a while since I saw it.
Doesn't kick in until at least like 15-20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, because the intro to Donnie himself is Echo and the Bunnymen, because it's him waking up. Yeah, him waking up in the middle of, I think it was like the golf course or something, and then biking home as they're playing that, introing to everything.
Apparently they changed he changed some songs for the director's cut too, and that was one of them. Apparently that was his backup choice, and he, like an In Excess song, I think replaces it in the director's cut. And that's what he wanted to get at first.
Which is such a worse choice.
I don't know which song he chose, but
he opened it was weird that he wanted to use Straight Outta Compton by NWA. As Donnie's just like puts his hood up and he's just biking along.
Damn, I gotta watch that again.
Hey, we'll do it for the show at some point.
Okay.
You sure you don't want to start now? So the movie begins with like
so it opens with Echo and the Bunnymen as Jake Gyllenhaal wakes up in a golf course. Yeah, we'll cover that at some point. It's this weird time for movies because I feel like 1999 was one of the best possible years for movies, and then the 2000s still had all these great things of like, hey, we didn't all die from the machine uprising last year, so let's make everything else that we still had in stock.
Bad news. It's actually the director's cut on Peacock.
Oh, so that means Dean has to go back and remove all of those scenes and replace all of the audio tracks with the true soundtrack. So yeah, it's something that we'll cover at some point. This one maybe we'll cover someday, my pick. I don't know if you guys are familiar at all, because this is another film from 2000. So like Donnie Darko, I think it has a similar melancholy feel to it overall, of kind of looking back on growing up or this coming of age thing. It is Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous.
Oh yeah.
And the scene itself is Tiny Dancer by Elton John. So towards the back end of the film, after the band Stillwater that Patrick Fugit's character William Miller is following along with and trying to write for Rolling Stone and all of this, The one of the guitarists in it, Russell Hammond, played by Billy Crudup, kind of has this falling out with the band, and like they go to this house party and he just goes on drugs and loses his mind, and he's on the roof shouting he's a golden god and jumps in the water, and it's all this chaos. And they finally in the morning like pick him up and get him back onto the bus, and everybody's not really talking to each other for the most part until all of a sudden Tiny Dancer just comes on the radio, and then slowly, one by one, they all start singing along to the song, and they kind of work through some of their stuff without even talking to each other, just by a combined enjoyment of this song, or like a relationship to music, which I think is something that, whether it's music, whether it's movies, whether it's anything, I think has happened multiple times throughout the years. Of you don't really have the words or a desire to actually apologize to people or talk through things with people sometimes, but it's just something that you both share, that it's okay, we don't have to discuss this, but we just both kind of understand and move through it. And I think that was really a good use of Tiny Dancer in Almost Famous.
Yeah,
watch it. I've only seen it once.
Ditto, but very much remember the scene. And yeah, I agree with that moving on sentiment. I've shared experience can do for people.
It's the power of music, really.
Yeah, I used to be so into music, like in high school and such, and I still enjoy music, obviously, but I don't go out and find it anymore. I just it needs to be brought to me.
Yeah, like back in the day, I used to like trawl through Pure Volume and like SoundCloud and Bandcamp and all these things of like, oh, the hot new bands like before they get famous, and I like this one and like that one. And now it's just my music taste stopped at a certain point. I will listen to all of that, and then if I happen to come across some new things, I'll be like, oh, cool. I try more recently in the past couple of years. I've made more of an effort to get outside of what I normally listen to and just like explore more music, whether it's new things or things from the past that I just hadn't listened to before. But yeah, like I definitely have frequent playlists that I just turn on all the time with some new additions here and there.
That new Sabrina Carpenter album is a fucking bop.
I was just gonna say, who's this Chapel Roan? Like, okay, these are okay.
Hers too. Like it's someone mentioned online, TikTok news article, I don't remember, but they said that Chapel Roan's music is oddly nostalgic, and it fits because a lot of her songs just, it sounds like I've heard this before, but it's completely new. But it's obviously not ripping
not
from
in a bad way.
Yeah. And it's not taking from an obvious source where like Dua Lipa, half her songs you can clearly tell like, oh, this is this song, and she's just remixed and kept the melody, or like she took it from that song, and it's a lot more obvious with her. But like Chapel Roan is, I'm surprised that I've been enjoying pop music as much as I have lately. I haven't really listened to radio or anything like that, but
you've softened in your old age.
I just don't care anymore.
I did realize that I was singing along to the song, but it was what was it? It was HOTTGOO, and then I realized that's not how it's spelled. I'm singing hot goo for like a week before I realized it. So
Hot Goo needs to be a song, though.
Hot Goo.
Tiny Dancer, is that the... I don't know how well you know the movie, Tim, but is that the only, like, song in that movie and everything else is score or their music? Or is it, like... Do they have other songs of the era in that movie?
I think they do. I don't remember, but...
Yeah, there's other music in it. I just don't think there's any that jumps out to me as much as specifically that. Like,
sure.
I know,
the scene is
like they have like, I think Simon and Garfunkel,
legendary.
They have like Beach Boys or stuff on it.
Okay.
I don't remember if all of it happens diegetically of they're listening to a record kind of deal, or if it's just played over the top. I haven't seen it in like 6 years.
It's been a long... I think I saw it.
It's one of my favorites.
When it came out on DVD, and that was the only time. But it's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Where's Billy Crudup? What's he doing?
Yeah, you know, during the movie when he's like, I tire of this band. It's
he goes to
problems.
Mars, and it takes him 30 seconds.
I am a blue god.
He raises his hands and just floats.
Put your dick away, Billy Crudup.
That's the matchup I need to see. Swap Billy Crudup's characters from Watchmen and Almost Famous.
Just a huge singer walking through Vietnam. Like, what the fuck?
And that's how I wrote Fortunate Son. So,
Oh.
did you guys have any honorable mentions that come to mind?
You actually said it. The other one was going to be "Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies at the end of Fight Club.
Did he say that?
It's so perfect.
Yeah,
Oh.
he mentioned
That's
it
a great pick.
as an example for one, or at least like for formative years, because that song always, that's another song where every time I hear it, I think that's just a good example of a needle drop. Is like if you hear it from a movie and that's all you can think of is specifically from that movie, it's a great example of one. And not every needle drop will have that same resonating effect, but I mean, it's one of the first times I ever heard that song was in Fight Club, and just the way that it was placed, it's just kismet.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's perfect with the, was it "You Met Me at a Very Strange Time in My Life," and then it just kicks into the song. And it's like, it's such a great ending. I think it's such a misunderstood movie overall. People have taken it to extremes. I think.
Yeah, and it's like
mean?
Whiplash is another current one where people are taking
Oh,
it
yeah.
for like, oh yeah, hustle culture. Like, no.
No.
that's not what this is about.
He was
Ambition
right.
will destroy you.
He was right at the end. Look how good he is.
He is, but look what it cost him to get
Right,
there.
that's what I'm saying. He's right. It was good.
Sacrifice and hard work pays off. Look how much money he was making.
Nick,
Oh, that was pro bono?
what, you guys getting paid? Nick, was the 300, was that a score to the movie? Is that why you disqualified it?
It was, yes,
Oh,
because that is
Yeah,
the
'cause-
actual score for the movie. But the score itself, I listened to for months after the movie too, because it just had that. It's rare for movie soundtracks to incorporate electric guitar in the way that they do. So, even though this specific song doesn't happen to have that, it's just more orchestratic, and it's like like opera singers in the background, like, just belting out the lines of the whatever lyrics that they're singing at that point in time. But the rest, like some of the fight scenes, incorporates like just different styles of music for the soundtrack, and between just the action sequences, the music, and just the story itself, it hit me at the right time in my life that it's like one of my top 10 movies. Even over the years, I guess it hasn't done well, but I mean, there's not many movies I went to go see twice in the theater on the same day. That was one of them. Like opening night, we saw it, and it's like, holy shit, I need to see this again, and we saw it again later that night. That's very rarely happened. Yeah.
I don't know if Snyder, how much he has in the trailers for his movies, but goddamn, the 300 trailer and the Watchmen trailer, but my God,
yeah,
so good.
The 300 trailer was one of
With
the few
Nine Inch Nails
instances
song?
where the hype matched the movie. And it had everything that, like, I remember watching that trailer at your house, Tim, like 10 times. Just huddled around your computer watching it like on repeat. Like, I can't wait for this. And then
I remember being in high school working in the video production studio, and we would have all of the computers in the editing bay in the back. And then we would sit there and just huddle around one of the computers and watch the trailer when it first came out. And then people would come into the studio specifically between classes to try to watch the trailer again before they have to run to the next class.
Yeah.
And just alone, we probably add in an extra 160 times that day to the trailer. But yeah, I think it was Tyler Bates that did that soundtrack, and it was crushed it.
The Nine Inch Nails was the music used in that trailer.
Yeah.
Always choose Nine Inch Nails for your action / sci-fi movie too.
Well, speaking
And if
of,
you-
wrong.
they announced with the new Tron movie that's coming out because Daft Punk did the second one. Nine Inch Nails is coming in for the new one.
I did see that. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It's Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, they said
So-
specifically Nine Inch Nails.
They have to be in the movie
Which
now,
at this
too.
point isn't Nine Inch Nails just Trent.
Yeah. Oh, and live. I mean, live he has guys that he plays with, but I don't know if they do the albums with them or not.
Yeah.
He's been playing with the same people live for years. Most of them. God, yeah. Go watch the it's probably like the teaser or like 1 minute trailer for Terminator 4. Such a good trailer. The movie not as great,
Wasn't.
I don't think. But damn, that trailer is really good.
Which one was
the-
for Salvation?
Yeah, with Bale, with Christian Bale.
Oh, with that was the blow up, right? With
Yes.
Christian Bale.
Yeah. You want to
Good
trash
for
your
you.
lights? Go ahead, Tim.
My memorable or honorable mention was Bell Bottoms by the John Spencer Blues Explosion from Baby Driver at the beginning of the movie during the heist. It's, I think, such a great sequence overall. Anybody that hasn't seen Baby Driver by Edgar Wright, just go check it out. It's a great film. It has a terrific soundtrack, and music plays such a heavy part of the film itself that everything hits.
I like that little piece of trivia for that movie where when he has his AirPods in, when he takes it out, the music only comes from the left or right speakers, whichever one that the AirPod is in his
Oh,
ear.
that's cool.
The music is only coming from that channel. That's it. It doesn't come out from the other one. Everything else is just normal for the movie.
I don't
Dean,
like
you've seen
that.
Baby Driver.
What? Just kidding. I saw that movie. I've only seen it once. Again, I had a great time. I just haven't gone back to revisit it. I think it
Baby Driver was
pretty
what I
solid
was
for me overall.
expecting Drive to be with Ryan Gosling.
Wow, it's really funny that you say that.
Because I hated Drive, but now knowing, I think I should give it another try because of that. Because I'm pretty sure Drive had another really good soundtrack too, but just
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be a completely different movie, and it was not what I expected.
That's literally
watching
my second
the-
pick.
Yeah, it's like going and watching the Avengers, and you get like a Jane Austen movie instead. Like, what is this?
Or
When,
it's like going to see Iron Man 3 and watching Great Gatsby.
Yes, that was the best mistake I've ever made.
In Drive, that was the other one I was going to choose. It's the music, I think, exists way above what's going on screen, but after the awesome opening, which might make you think you're in for a different movie, it's just him driving home or just on some other night, and it's just, helicopter shots and shots of him in the car, but it's playing Kavinsky's Night Call, which I say that like, oh yeah, Kavinsky. I didn't know who the hell that was before I saw this movie.
Yeah.
But when that song kicked in, it was like, I don't know.
It changed your personality.
It changed. It's
All
not
of a
like
sudden, you were like a jacket with a collar up, sunglasses on. You're just driving late at night.
it did speak to me, like, and I did go home and buy the soundtrack after I saw the movie. That movie is very much, it's a very specific vibe and tone, and I think you're either it either just speaks to you in like just a cool way like it did to me, or you might find it boring, I guess. But yeah, that scene where the night call kicks in, it kicked off a love of me trying to find 80s style or really synthy music after that, like just
I think like
chasing that high again.
Yeah, like this vaporwave or synthwave or whatever style. I think it was around, but I think that's when it really popularized it.
Yeah, it was not on my radar until that scene. And like, yeah, he's just driving around. He's just going. It's like just a little montage of him going to his apartment, and then having a brush with Carey Mulligan somewhat, and then, Yeah,
Dean,
it's
you've seen The Guest, right?
No.
All right, yeah.
You should.
We're gonna stop recording now, and that's what you're gonna watch.
Then I'll see you in 2 hours. We'll record an episode on it.
There you go. But no, like the Guest has a very similar soundtrack, and it has like just a good soundtrack vibe. Like for Needle Drop, the whole movie. That's a good honorable mention. It's just that entire movie.
Okay. All right. I don't even know what that is.
The Guest.
Yeah.
With Dan Stevens and Micah
I don't know who
Monroe.
Dan Stevens or Mike Monroe are.
You do. When you see his face, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that guy."
Dan Stevens. He played in the show Legion. He also played
Did not see
in.
that show.
Okay,
He was in the new Godzilla X Kong
As the whimsical boyfriend with the
as the blonde, attractive tracker guy.
okay, who gives Kong his fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. I think he gave him that root canal thing in the beginning too.
Oh, right.
He also played in Abigail most recently.
And the other
and
guy?
Cuckoo.
I didn't see. I've only seen King Kong.
Go see Abigail.
No, you guys talked about it. It's too late.
We have to educate you.
Who's the other guy?
The education
in
of.
Oh, Micah Monroe. It's a girl.
She was also in It Follows, Watcher, Longlegs.
It's not the lead in It Follows. She.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. All right.
It's not the lead in It Follows.
It is not the lead. Okay, The Guest.
Then shouldn't it be She Follows? Didn't you have a gross misunderstanding of this film?
Tim, digression. How do you feel about the movie Smile?
I didn't dislike it. I think it's a lot of cheap scares here and there, but I did enjoy it. It's fun.
You gonna see the new one when it comes out?
Yeah.
I only bring it up because I know the sequel's coming out soon, and it's just like a non-sex version of It Follows.
Yeah, pretty much.
It looks it's an interesting concept, like going with a Lady Gaga like central character. Like a really famous person like experiencing something like this.
Yeah.
I didn't see the first one, but I can't escape the trailer for the second one.
I mean, all of it feels very similar to there was an Amazing Stories episode from, I think, Amazing Stories the movie with Sam Waterston, where he played a horror director who all of a sudden started seeing in reflections like this kind of undead, like with a hat, killer with a cape that's coming after him. And it's always like approaching him, and every time he looks in any reflective surface, it's getting closer and closer and closer. And it kind of feels like that in like It Follows and Smile and all of these. So if you haven't seen that, it's worth the 45 minutes. Go check that out.
What's that one called? Sam Waterston? You say Sam Waterston?
It's Sam Waterston. I forget the name of it, but it was Amazing Stories. I think Scorsese directed that episode. Actually, that's a really bold claim. Let me double check that.
You think Sam Waterston as in not NYPD Blue. Was he on
Law and Order?
Yeah, that guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So our interns say it was Scorsese that directed that episode. It was written by Spielberg, Joshua Brand, and John Falsey.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was Sam Waterston.
Okay.
Great episode.
The Guest and
good job, interns.
And the phantom that's approaching him, the guy under all that makeup, Tim Robbins.
Does he get like a good front and center shot?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's just you can't tell that it's Tim Robbins.
That's fine.
So
but
those are all needle drops except most of what we just talked about for the last 8 minutes of that show.
It's padding.
So one other thing for anybody interested, seeing as we were talking about needle drops and a lot of movies and things like that, I might have mentioned it to you before, Nick. There's a podcast that I've been listening to that's kind of cool called One Song with Diallo Riddle, who's a like writer, director, actor, DJ, and producer luxury. And the whole thing is every episode they pull a different song and then rip it down to the stems of like all the individual pieces of the track of, okay, here's just the bass line, and now here's just the like the clapping, and here's just the isolated vocals. And they go over all of the different influences or interpolations of different music and different songs and different like influences, and then put it all together for the end. And it's really a cool take on breaking down not just music, or not just that song, but just music concept in general. Because when we were talking about the effect of different songs had on you and watching like Donnie Darko or something, they've gone over before of there's literally roles of certain people in the music production piece that their entire thing is just figuring out the psychology and math of, okay, well, if we use a higher note here instead of a lower note, that's going to produce a different effect in the brain of liking this or finding this nostalgic versus something else. And all of the science that goes into it, that's really interesting. So check out one song.
They didn't cover... I might be thinking of something else. They didn't do Cyndi Lauper, did they? That you know
They
of?
might have. They have like 200
Okay.
episodes.
Never. I might be thinking of something else I saw. Cut that.
But
out.
yeah, but it's interesting because they'll do everything. So all of a sudden they'll cover like, oh, we'll cover Janet Jackson. The next week is going to be Metallica, and then the next week is going to be like Nas's Illmatic or something like that. So it's all over the place as far as what they do, which is just really interesting.
I looked up on YouTube because I remember we talked about it before. The guy is Rick Beato, and he does basically the same exact thing, kind of covering history of the song, what makes it great, music theory, and all that. And he like plays along with the certain spots that he's talking about as he's discussing it. I wasn't sure if it was going to be the same guys or not.
Oh no, but I'll check that out. Dean, do you have anything for listeners to check out as far as music content creators?
Wait, why are you laughing?
We've all suggested extra things.
Oh. Like I said, I don't seek out music anymore. So I'll just take anybody else's considerations. So
that's fair. Okay. And that concludes our episode of our favorite needle drops in media. If you like what you've heard, please drop a review or rating and subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts to help us out. Everyone always says this, but likes and subscribing really helps the channel out and gets us into everybody else's eyes and ears. We have social media, but we're not terrific about pushing ads and keep us in the forefront of your thoughts. You can still find us on Instagram at Screen Refresh, and go and like and subscribe on YouTube at the Screen Refresh Network. You can even shoot us an email at screenrefresh@gmail.com so we can hear what your top choices would be or suggest other topics for episodes. So for Dean and Nick, this is Tim. Take care of yourself and catch us next on Screen Refresh the first Monday of the month, or on our sister podcast on the network, Don't Open This Podcast, every second and fourth Monday of the month with me and Mike Felsigno. So long.